I come from a land, from a faraway place, where the caravan camels roam, where it's flat and immense and the heat is intense. It's barbaric, but hey, you. Uh, hey guys, welcome to the channel. I am the Dark Lord J Priest, and today I'm talking more stuff from my childhood. In November of 1992, Disney released a little movie known as Aladdin. Maybe you've heard of it. This would become my favorite Disney film, possibly to this day. So, a year later, in November of 1993, when a game came out for the Super Nintendo, of course, I had to have it. I have so many fond memories of playing this game, but licensed games are usually, yeah. So this got me thinking. Disney's Aladdin for SNES. Is it pure nostalgia? So, diving right into the game, it opens with a level that I can only assume is based on one of the first scenes from the film, where Aladdin is being chased through the streets of Agrabah. You know, where he has to keep one jump ahead of the bread line and one swing ahead of the sword. You are quickly introduced to all of the game's elements. You find apples to throw at enemies for a stun, gems to collect which will raise your health for every 100 you find, and this sheet that, while not necessary to have, is super helpful since it allows Aladdin to glide. You will platform your way through the streets and rooftops until you come to a very familiar scene. A lowly lady street urchin being threatened by a merchant. She runs off, and this leaves you with your first boss fight. There's nothing particularly challenging here. Most everyone will beat this guy no problem, and then Aladdin will run off with the lady street urchin. Congrats, stage 1 clear. Now you are introduced to the game's cutscenes. These are just still images with text underneath. It's in this cutscene that our new companion is revealed to be Princess Jasmine. Shocker. And the guards arrest Aladdin and drag him to the dungeon. In the dungeons, he meets a strange old man. I wonder who this could be. Who tells him he can get out of the dungeon if he will go to the Cave of Wonders. This sets up for our next level, the Cave of Wonders. This level is just as fun as the first, in my opinion, with the same fun yet simple, kid-friendly platforming that was established there. Additionally, at the end of part 1 of the stage, you drop down to the treasure room and meet yet another main character from the film, Carpet. Carpet motions for you to follow and then walks off screen. Aladdin then tags along to part 2 of the stage, where you're going to ride logs across water, since Aladdin absolutely cannot swim in this game, like most platformers at the time. And you get past a few traps that are simultaneously interesting and somehow completely boring at the same time. You pull a rope, raise a spiky rock, duck under it, and continue. You'll see a familiar sight from the film as you run by some falling boulders and then arrive at the lamp that you came for. An actual in-game cutscene plays here, where Aladdin grabs a lamp and looks back before screaming, "Abu, no!" represented with on-screen text, of course. As the camera pans to show Carpet holding Abu back as he tries to grab that super shiny gem. "Infidels," says the voice of the cave. Stage 2 complete. We are then greeted with another still image with text that informs you of what is happening. Seems like a great time for a lava level. I normally hate lava levels in platformers, but since in the film the treasure melts and the cave starts being destroyed by lava, this does make sense to be here. To impose a sense of urgency and like you must escape this lava flow, this is an auto-scroll level. The scrolling is quite slow, which was nice when I was a kid, as it didn't make any of this too difficult. But as an adult, I do find myself wishing the scroll was a bit quicker. This is a small nitpick, I guess, but I think it would have helped make this part of the game feel even more dire and frantic, and made for a more enjoyable experience overall. Completing this part of the game, with its collapsing platforms and floor is literally lava aesthetic, will lead you to my least favorite part of the game. I could rarely beat this next part as a kid, but didn't struggle at all in this playthrough. Let's just get this over with. The auto-scroll magic carpet ride lava chase level. Ugh. You have to ride on carpet as rocks fall from the top of the screen and lava swells come up from behind you, forcing you to move closer to the front of the screen. Being close to the front isn't bad at first, but eventually you get shoehorned into tunnels while also being chased by these lava swells. Touching anything will result in instant death as Aladdin is knocked off of carpet. It's nice to have a level that utilizes carpet, and the auto-scroll is faster here, moving at the speed I wish the previous part moved at. And the level is tense and feels quite dire. It's not a bad level, it's just more difficult than anything else contained in the game. I wish this part was less difficult, or the rest of the game was more difficult. I feel having this part in the game, as it was made as a whole, just feels weird. It's not cohesive with the rest of the game. Doing either of these difficulty balances would really help make this not stand out as a bad level to me, because the scaling is off as it is. Super easy up to here, frantic mad dash with tricky corridors here, super easy from this point on. If you can beat this level, you'll beat the game, no doubt. Again, I want to reiterate that as an adult, I didn't find this hard. I died twice getting through it. It's just that when compared to the rest of the game, it's the hard part. Anyhow, I guess that's enough complaining about this level. Complete it and move on to the best level in the whole game. Genie pulls Aladdin into the lamp. Sure, this never happens in the movie, but I don't even care. I mean, it gives us an excuse to listen to this absolute bop. Besides that, the platforming here is quick and interesting, jumping across genie heads and arms in this fantastical cloud-filled environment. At one point, Genie comes down and creates the platforms one at a time as you swing and jump and bounce your way across a chasm. Again, there's nothing difficult here, but how could you not have fun? In the next part of the stage, you have to use genie head balloons to swing across the environment as they rise up across the screen. Again, this is super fun, and I haven't mentioned this before, but against all odds, Aladdin has really tight controls to make this just a really, really enjoyable experience. I can't say enough good things about this stage as a whole, and each section just reinforces why this stage is so good. In the third part of the stage, wait, what the hell is that? I'm platforming across Genie's tongue? I'm gonna reserve my comments here. I'll just say I find this super weird. You have an imagination, use it. So anyway, we get past the tongue part and we have these genie boingers. No, Genie Springs. Springs, it's a spring. Who wrote boing? You know what? This part is just weird. It's still fun, but weird. So moving on, we've beat stage 4. Stage 5. Abu falls off of carpet after you escape the Cave of Wonders finally, and you arrive in this weird sand temple level. I don't really care for this level. I'm not sure why I dislike it so much, really. I mean, the platforming is still tight, the enemies are roughly the same as anything else you fought, so maybe it's just how much they have deviated from the films now. But really, this is fine, it's just more of the same. It just feels more generic than the rest of the game. Am I crazy? Did anyone like this part? There's nothing really special to comment on here, except that we have another boss fight right after the second part of the stage. It's a hard one. Are you ready for this? You jump on it one time. It's Abu. Did that surprise you? Anyway, that's stage 5. Clearly, this was an afterthought. At least we're back to the movie's plot, as we wish to become Prince Ali, glorious he, Ali Ababa. And we do this bonus stage now where we fly on carpet with Jasmine to a whole new world. This is a nice distraction. Nothing can hurt you. You just fly and collect gems on a date with Jasmine. It's wholesome. It's nice to have in this game, but it is kind of boring. Now we get revealed as the street urchin that we are and sent to the ends of the earth, where we Just jump on carpet and come back to Agrabah to traverse the palace while it looks dark and clearly under the influence of Jafar. Again, there isn't anything new here. Sure, some things look different, but really we've seen this all before as to how they function. These snakes, they're just the men in the windows from the first stage. So let's just move on. In the next part, we run into Iago as he drops skulls on us. So that's cool, I guess. And there are these lamps that you can swing from that will drop and set fire to the enemies underneath them. I get some sort of sadistic pleasure from doing this. In the next part, now the stage wants to burn you back as you platform with a wall of fire that rises about halfway up the stage and then drops back down in a set pattern. At least it's different finally. I don't find it particularly fun, but it is different. We then fight Jafar as his sorcerer self. This is the hardest fight in the game, but don't take that as me saying it's particularly hard at all. The pattern is simple to recognize, and it's easy to figure out that you have to jump off either his staff or some pot chickens to hit him as he swoops down in the middle of the stage. Once you hit him, you just run to the far left or the far right of the screen to dodge some lightning strikes, and repeat this until he's dead. It's simple, but it's fun. Beat him and the stage is clear, and you'll move on to the final boss. He's a snake. A big-ass snake. This is easier than the previous fight. The snake will spit eggs, and you just jump off them and hit his head. He then flops his body, which you're standing on, and you just have to jump to avoid some fire at the bottom of the stage. Repeat this until you beat him. Wow. Incredible job of this final boss, he said sarcastically. But wait, it's not over. He comes back and he gets Aladdin. Trigger cutscene. Jafar becomes an all-powerful genie. Of course, Aladdin just then uses this to trap him in the lamp, and in the cutscene, I guess it is over. You beat the game. The final cutscene then plays out like the ending of the movie. So, Aladdin has been beaten. Here's the question. Is it good, or was it pure nostalgia? Well, the game took me about 45 minutes to beat. That's incredibly disappointing. I could have beaten it faster, but I died a few times. The levels were all incredibly short, and there aren't that many of them. Make the levels a bit longer and add in some more parts. You already added parts that weren't from the movie, and one of those stages is the best in the whole game. Yeah, I get that it's loosely based on the Genie's intro song part of the film, but you could have done some really interesting stuff with other parts, and add unique levels and lengthen the game. I'm not saying it would need to be hours long, but 45 minutes is just way too short, even for back then. I also feel like everything after the Genie level is just uninspired. It's more of the same with a different coat of paint. It's not bad since the game does actually control well. It's just not terribly exciting. So, what's my answer? Aladdin is pure nostalgia. I think it may be worth playing if you're a fan of Aladdin, and it's far from being a bad game. There just isn't much here aside from those very bones. I really wanted to end this by saying the game was actually good, but I just can't say that. Do I still love the game? Yes. Will I still play the game? Also yes. But that doesn't change the fact that I mostly love this game for the pure nostalgia. So, that's it. What are your thoughts? Let me know, and if you could, hit subscribe and do the tango with the like button. It looks a little lonely. And with all that said, I am Jay Priest, and I will see you in the next video.